Greetings to you wherever you are watching this. For those of you whom I have yet to meet in person, I'm Reverend Nicola Marsh, pastor here at Community UCC. And we see that people like you are watching our live stream each week. And because of this, we are excited to be embarking upon an experiment. And we need you. If you are engaging with us regularly, finding meaning in what we are about, we would like to extend a special invitation for you to be among the first CUCC digital disciples. For signing up for just $10 a month, you will receive a t-shirt with the new CUCC logo. And we are also exploring the idea of offering other content to those of you who are part of this new and growing area of digital ministry. Sign up to support us in this new way at cuccboulder.org/support by clicking on the yellow donate tab and noting you are a digital disciple in the instructions. Or as always, we welcome an old-fashioned check mailed to us at CUCC, P.O. Box 3646, Boulder, Colorado 80307. Thank you for being and building beloved community with us, and thank you for your gift, whatever it might be.
Good morning and welcome again, everyone, on this sixth Sunday after Epiphany, and in this country, maybe the most important holiday of the entire year, Super Bowl. So thank you for being here. We welcome you as you are from all the places you are gathering today, and I invite you to take some deep breaths, let yourself arrive a bit more fully, as we each hope to hear whatever word God has for us today. God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. After the end of one long, brutal chapter came the reckoning, the hope of some kind of reconciling after the terror. Out of pain from decades of racial apartheid, legalized discrimination and domination, where thousands of lives were lost and millions were brutalized and marginalized, the first democratic government in South Africa established the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. The new commission was chaired by Desmond Tutu, appointed in 1995, who said that it could be an incubation chamber for national healing, reconciliation, and forgiveness. But you might remember at the time that many mocked it, warned that it would be impossible, ridiculous, a waste of time. As you might remember, the main purpose of the commission was to promote reconciliation and forgiveness among both the perpetrators and the victims. And more specifically, it was charged with 3 tasks: to discover the causes and nature of human rights violations in South Africa between 1960 and 1994, to identify victims with a view to paying reparations, and to allow amnesty to those who fully disclose their involvement in politically motivated violations. Recounting that time as a reporter, Akash Mehra wrote of his interview with Desmond Tutu. The bishop told him about the desperate imperative to enable South Africans to bridge the chasm that remained after apartheid, and described the foundations of what would later become the commission. He paused and asked the reporter, "So, what do you think?" And the reporter replied, "I think this idea is just bonkers." An essential part of the process was that the commission would offer amnesty in the hope of encouraging perpetrators to come forward and to give full public confessions of the crimes they had committed. The objective then was to ensure that the true horrors would be allowed to be unveiled, the suffering of the victims and the harm caused openly acknowledged, so that everyone could move forward in communal reconciliation. The reporter went on and clarified with Bishop Tutu. "Perhaps I'm misunderstanding," he said, "but do you mean political leaders will be invited to step forward to tell the entire world about their ghoulish crimes, like mass murders, and then be allowed to stand up, turn away from grieving families, and saunter out the door forever immune from prosecution?" No, he had not misunderstood. The idea of this Truth and Reconciliation Commission would be different than justice. To the reporter, This idea, he said, seemed like the prelude to a bloodbath. But what happened was that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission proved to be, as one writer put it, a miracle of the modern age. And still, many of us have reflected on how radical reconciliation seems. Doesn't that seem like a wild concept right now? Something that might not even be possible in many situations. We are nearing the end of our series, A New Dream for an Old Faith, and it's been wonderful to hear the conversation that has emerged. And today we're talking about conflict as an avenue of transformation. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission is, of course, an extraordinary example, but I think that even if we scale this down to our individual lives, there are really important truths for each of us. In this story we heard in the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus offers some direct instructions. And is his teaching style. He does this thing where he says, you've heard it like this, but I say, how about like this? And he goes on to say something about if you are in a fight, get things clear. And you'll see even in the text, he says, on the way to court, try even to get the judge to hear you. First, be reconciled. And he goes on to say what to do if you were wronged in public. Try to connect with the accuser. And he says, you have heard that you shouldn't cheat on your wife, but I say to you, take responsibility for the part that comes first, the lust. And then he gets dramatic, as you heard, and I didn't even include the whole lection because it's even weirder after verse 30. If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off, throw it away. It is better for you to lose one of your members than for the whole body to go into hell. So you guess I'm going to unpack that for you, right? So I wonder if that is a first century way of saying that if you never reconcile, if you are always driven by anger, if there are people in family or parts of an organization that can't or won't try to reconcile or to forgive or forge a way forward, it can bring the whole thing down, the whole body, the whole system. I think that's what he meant by tearing out the organs. Reconciliation doesn't mean staying in relationship with those who treat us badly or cause us harm, although maybe we could get there. I think what Jesus means by this is that our call is to hang on when it's hard, when we are able, because sometimes miracles really can happen. And that will be a gift to us and to others and to the whole organism. If we can forgive where it is possible or needed and let go of grudges where there are gaps. I have observed in many areas of life that conflict infused with kindness can lead not to just generative conversations, but new ways of thinking and being, different kinds of relationships that never before seemed possible. Renowned leadership expert and Harvard professor Ronald Heifetz contends that disagreement can actually be a driver of creativity. In the book, The Practice of Adaptive Leadership, he and his colleague Marty Linsky wrote, some of the most creative ideas come out of people in conflict, remaining in conversation with one another, rather than flying into their own corners or staking out entrenched positions. Doesn't that feel like the time we're in, where people quickly fly to their own corners to ghost or cut off or step away when conflict avoidance no longer works, not just in politics. I think even under the best circumstances, it is difficult to disagree without being disagreeable, but I think that's important. And it feels really essential for us, for our spiritual lives, and for this community right now. What if conflict managed faithfully and thoughtfully can be transformational? What if conflict is sometimes needed to get to the very heart of things, to reveal what it is we really care about? Max Lucado wrote, conflict is inevitable, but combat is optional. It's notable that Jesus does not prohibit or condemn anger, at least not that I can find. And we even get moments in the gospel where he is mad and yells. But still, it is untransformed anger that he's talking about. He doesn't condemn anger itself. Anger is normal and natural. What matters is what we do with it. Jesus gives us teachings and shows us that we can transform our anger into something else And as scholar Glenn Stassen wrote, when we are doing that, we initiate acts that manifest the reign of God right here and now. Trying for reconciliation is nothing less than really bringing heaven here on earth, I think. This is the only place Jesus uses this word in all of the Gospels. In Greek, it's dilasso, and it implies exchange, a mutual concession, where enmity is shifted to something else. What a gift that we have this community, and ideally any church at its best, as a place where we can practice conflict without combat, even in a time where the world seems to know that language well. Here we can see tension as transformational when we approach it faithfully. We can welcome our anger, acknowledge it, see it, and turn it. As Thich Nhat Hanh wrote of how to get to reconciliation, give your anger, your despair, your fear a bath of mindfulness every day. First, be reconciled means, in part, that we are called to restore where we can, to be engaged in mutual exchanges that bring us deeper and draw the circle wider. Let us bridge the chasm. It could be the miracle of the modern age. May it be so. Amen.
Greetings to you wherever you are watching this. For those of you whom I have yet to meet in person, I'm Reverend Nicole LaMarche, pastor here at Community UCC. And we see that people like you are watching our live stream each week. And because of this, we are excited to be embarking upon an experiment. And we need you. If you are engaging with us regularly, finding meaning in what we are about, we would like to extend a special invitation for you to be among the first CUCC digital disciples. For signing up for just $10 a month, you will receive a t-shirt with the new CUCC logo. And we are also exploring the idea of offering other content to those of you who are part of this new and growing area of digital ministry. Sign up to support us in this new way at cuccboulder.org/support by clicking on the yellow donate tab and noting you are a digital disciple in the instructions. Or as always, we welcome an old-fashioned check mailed to us at CUCC, P.O. Box 3646, Boulder, Colorado 80307. Thank you for being and building beloved community with us, and thank you for your gift, whatever it might be.